Alright, dudes. Welcome back to Minecraft Therapy. Just chilling out. Hope y'all are doing well. I know a bunch of y'all, well, maybe not a bunch, maybe 10 of you guys, got your college application results recently, which is a big, hot deal on the internet, I know, because everyone's like, oh my god, I got into the school of my dreams, or oh my god, I didn't get into the school of my dreams, even though I have like a 6.0 GPA. 6.0 GPA. I didn't even know 6.0 GPAs were a thing, but apparently they are. But yeah, one of you guys left a comment for me to talk about how Stanford kind of shaped me as a person because you were feeling depressed that you didn't get into Stanford. Let me tell you right now, if you're watching this video and you're feeling depressed that you didn't get into Stanford and you're watching my Stanford videos, don't feel that depressed. Oh my god. Hopefully this zombie isn't... Should I kill this? Because zombie's really interrupting my monologue right now. But if you didn't get into Stanford and you're feeling depressed, don't feel depressed. Because Stanford really isn't that good. And in today's video, I kind of want to talk about how Stanford has shaped who I am as a person. And, you know, all the different ways it's impacted me. Spoiler alert, it has impacted me a lot, I think, but I don't know if it's all for good reasons, you know. Oh my god, this zombie is really gonna ruin my monologue, so I need to go somewhere else and hopefully not die in the process. Yeah, I don't think Stanford was necessarily a positive experience on my life, even though I think I did learn a lot from it. So, yeah, let's just dive into and talking about all the different ways it's impacted me. I think probably the biggest way it's impacted me is that I've learned to work hard as fuck. Even though I don't think that is necessarily thanks to Stanford itself. Because I think most of that actually came from the process of getting into Stanford and wanting to get into an elite college, whatever the hell that means, and not necessarily from Stanford itself, if that makes sense. I think by the time most people get into Stanford, they are already mostly their habits of how hard they're going to work and like what they're going to give effort to in life is already pretty much set. Because you're already 18 years old, you've already worked really hard in high school to get into the school with such a low admissions rate as Stanford. So your habits there of working hard are kind of already set. I don't think Stanford... Zombie. I'm trying to tell the viewers about Stanford, and you keep interrupting me. But yeah, like I said, I think in high school, I pretty much, like, you know, in high school, that's when those habits were set for me, really. Because I was, like, going to track practice. I was doing a shit ton of homework. I was freaking waking up at 6 a.m. to go to school. I don't think I could do any of that right now, but that definitely set the base and the groundwork for kind of who I am. I think, not to, you know, toot my own horn and suck my own dick, but I think... Generally speaking, I can work pretty hard, which honestly I don't know if that's a good thing because it also leads to a lot of burnout and anxiety and worse habits. Like, for example, with making these YouTube videos, I've been trying to work really hard to... Please don't die. Oh my god. I'm really going to die right now. Oh, yes. Oh my god. Oh my god. I really can't die because I have so much shit, and this is really scary right now. So I'm going to focus on running away instead of giving excellent commentary, which you guys are all known for. I'm really rambling here. What am I trying to say? Yes, I worked really hard in high school to get into a good college, but I don't think that would have been the case regardless of whatever college I went to. If I got into Stanford, that base of me working hard still would have been set in high school. If I got into Yale or Harvard, same thing. If I got into frickin', you know, community college, would have been the same thing. So I don't really think Stanford is to thank for that. I think the weird really intense for no reason admissions process is to thank for that. And yeah, I don't necessarily think that's a good thing that we all work so damn hard to get into these colleges. All right, that was really long and weird. Anyway, I think the next biggest impact Stanford probably had on me was that it made me really cynical in a lot of different aspects. And that is something I think that I learned at Stanford and wasn't that way before I got into Stanford. Before I got into Stanford, I think I was actually the moment I got into Stanford, I was pretty optimistic about life. I think I've said this before, but probably like one of the best moments of my life was when I got into Stanford. Not when I went to Stanford. That was probably one of the worst moments of my life. But when I got into Stanford, that was really good because it was like a whole world of possibilities. I was like, wow, Stanford, everyone says what a good school it is, how many opportunities it has. It was basically like opening up my world into this unforeseen like world of possibilities. Basically, I was like, wow, I could freaking be an astronaut. I could make the next Google. I could freaking, they tell you that everyone at Stanford basically can do whatever they want in life, which is a really amazing, thing to tell an 18-year-old. And I was like, wow, I can be a writer, which I want to do. I can literally make my dreams come true, which is really amazing. And then you get to Stanford and you realize, oh shit, it's not that way. And I kind of had that feeling beating the shit out of me. Why do I say that? I think when I got to Stanford, I definitely not very quickly, but I realized that that's not true, that you can make all your dreams come true at Stanford. Everything is still determined by things such as who you know, how charismatic you are, who you talk to, can you, kind of manipulate your way through the system and get people to like you, how much money you have, your race, all these things actually play a big part in how successful you are. And I think seeing that kind of made me a lot more cynical towards life and what I could just that crazy feeling of optimism I had when I first got into Stanford of like, wow, I can really do anything here. That went away. I'm trying to think of some examples, but yeah, basically, like if you get into Stanford, you'll see that a lot of the startups that get money. This is one example. A lot of the startups that get money from students after graduating are not like done by smart or nice or good people. They're done by the people who get the millions of dollars in fundraising for their startup are the people who can talk to people who have connections because their parents are super rich or they're super charismatic or they're white and they are able to kind of manipulate their way through the system and get money. You'll see, I think, can you hear that? That's the phone in the background ringing its freaking ass off and ruining my video right now. Well, wait for it to stop because it's really annoying. All right, it stopped. One example I can think of, I don't know the exact name of the startup, but I remember one of the startups that, a bunch of startups out of Stanford get a lot of money, but one of the startups that got a lot of money was just made by a bunch of these frat bros. And one of my friends was like, one of my friends who knew them was like, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just a bunch of frat bros who, are just figured out a way to game the system and have gotten a lot of money. And maybe that's, who knows? I don't want to specifically call those people out because maybe they're actually smart people and I'm just a salty little bitch because I'm not white, and I don't know. But yeah, I think I, shocker, but race, what the color of your skin and the economic background you come from have a huge impact on, what you're going to be able to achieve. And your gender, of course. I totally forgot to say that because I'm part of the ruling patriarchy class. But yeah, your gender, your race, your economic background, that has a huge impact on what you can achieve, even at a place like Stanford. Which maybe that was, I don't know. I'm not trying to make any huge, bold claims about, life or just sound too salty or anything, but I think that was definitely interesting for me to realize because, yeah, I thought that at a place like Stanford, wow, everyone has an equal shot. Anyone can do anything. All your dreams can come true. Not true, just by looking at the people around me, and what the people around me were able to achieve, and who got what opportunities and who got what money. Outside factors still play a huge part in that. So yeah, that was a wake up call. That really, and I think that cynicism has really embedded itself into me, which is interesting. I don't necessarily think it's a good thing that I'm such a cynical. I definitely don't think it's a good thing that I'm such a cynical person. But anyway, I think another way I've been kind of Stanford's changed my view of the world is that I have a much more negative view of startups and tech in general, which is interesting. You'd think that going to the biggest CS school on the planet, Stanford, would make me brainwashed into the tech cult, but not really. I think going into Stanford, I actually had a much more favorable view of tech. I was like, wow, it would be really cool to work at one of these companies like Facebook or Google, or do just work in tech, right? Because they have such a cool aesthetic. They have bean bags. They cater your food. It's like a very, it sounds like a fun place to work and like a cool, just a cool thing, right? But I think going to Stanford, I don't know, it just opened me up to so many problems with not only with both what tech does in our society as like a occupation, and also like the culture of working at tech. So what tech does in our society, I think, is people are really worshiping startups and tech as like the way to solve problems in our society, which I don't think is true or a good thing. I think our society I think most people now can agree that our society would be better off with less tech, he says as he plays Minecraft on his computer and posts to YouTube. But yeah, I think there's this idea in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area that any problem is better solved with tech, and that's why VCs, which are venture capitalists, pour a bunch of money into startups, and why a bunch of startups start every year and go to Y Combinator and do all this stuff is because they're like, yes, any problem, if I don't know, if I'm trying to think of if your bed is too cold at night, or you have social anxiety and you want to meet people, tech is the best way to solve that. So we're going to invent Tinder. We're going to invent VR to close that gap between people. And I don't think that is... damn, I wish I had some iron to shear these frickin' sheep. I don't think that's true at all. I think tech... Yeah, like I said, I think in our society, tech causes a lot of problems. And I think going to Stanford made me realize how many people, when they're making their startup and getting into tech, they're not thinking at all about what is the impact of this on society. And maybe that's too much to put on any one person, right? Because we're all just like a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds, or like, slightly older if you're a grad student. And no one person's going to change the world. But yeah, I think just the general culture leads people to make all these startups, leads people to not think about, is this what I really want to do in my life or what's best for the world. It just leads people to make these startups because they want the notoriety or they want the fame or they want the money. And they're not thinking, it's just not like, why do we need so many startups that just do bullshit and actually, actively make people's lives worse by just flooding the market with so much fucking technology that is just totally, I don't know. I sound like a mega like hippie person who's like a Calvinist and just wants us to wear clogs and no rock music, but I don't know. I think there's this culture that Stanford kind of encourages of like, just make your startup, and it's not good. And then the other thing is tech culture, the working tech work culture, which is very, and I've never worked at a big tech company, so this is all, who knows, maybe I'm just totally slandering big tech right now, but it's just like very, like I just said before, it doesn't make you think critically about, is this what I'm working on actually good for the world. And also I think so there's two types of tech jobs, I'd say, the super chill ones and the super intense ones. The super intense ones are probably things like startups or like smaller incumbent companies, not incumbent, the opposite of incumbent, smaller companies challenging the incumbents, so like the people going up against the Facebooks and Googles of the world. And at those companies, I think there is probably a big culture of working really hard, because don't you want to change the world? Don't you care about what we're doing? What we're doing helps people. So if you don't want to work on this thing and work a million hours on it, you obviously don't care about people. Is very like guilt trippy. And I think that at those companies there is a bad culture of working people to the bone, very hard. 100-hour work weeks, 80-hour work weeks, whatever, like just working very hard and kind of like no one wants to work 80 hours a week, okay? Like, unless you are playing, I don't know. I was going to say, unless you're playing video games, you don't want to work out 100 hours a week. But maybe if you really love your job, you want to work 100 hours a week. But, like, it's kind of, you get what I'm trying to say. It's unhealthy to force people at these startups to work so many hours a week. But I think that is the pervasive culture at smaller tech companies. And then at big tech companies, I think there's like, you like just slowly wither away, because basically there are people who do real work at big tech companies, and also some big tech companies work you really hard. I think, I don't know, I can't really come with any examples because I'm not that well versed in Silicon Valley culture, so I don't want to say something and have people make fun of me. But I think like Uber work their people really hard at the beginning. But like I'm like companies like Facebook and Google, all have very chill cultures where you can just like, they have nap pods, you can chill, you don't really have to do too much work. That's all the stories I've heard of from people working at Facebook, is that it's at Facebook or Google, is that it's very chill. You basically don't have to do any work. No one cares. And basically I think the reason they do that, I think, is because they know that the only way people are going to beat Google is if a startup comes along and works hard and challenges them. So the best way for them to challenge that and stop people from doing that is just hire a bunch of new grads and pay them $100K a year, so that they just sit at Google and basically do nothing and don't make that startup that's going to challenge them. And yeah, it's much cheaper for Google to just pay a 10,000 new grads a year $100K than lose to some competitor, right? So you basically just wither away slowly because you're not working and doing anything. So I think that is not good because you just slowly you're just not doing anything. And I hear a lot of stories of people leaving, these big tech companies after a few years, or getting really bored and just like not, because they're not doing anything, and it's just like very boring. What else? All right, so all of those things were pretty negative things I just said about Stanford, but there's also some not bad things that happened to me. I think one of the good things I learned from Stanford is just how to be more social, or not be as socially anxious. I think before I got into Stanford, I was super socially anxious. Anytime I would meet someone, I'd be like, oh shit, like I have to act a certain way so this person likes me. And it would just stress me the hell out meeting anyone at any time for any reason. I think at Stanford, I realized I learned how just to not give a fuck about that as much. I don't think I've far from perfected the art of not giving a fuck, but I think I've gotten better at it. And I think that is probably just because at Stanford, there were just so many people I didn't care to impress, because it was like, I don't give a shit if you think I'm cool or not. And strangely enough, if you apply that strategy to just everyone you meet, you end up just not trying so hard and just being yourself, which is most important for just making friends and meeting people. Just be yourself. Very cheesy, corny ass thing I'm saying, I know, but yeah, I think that was a good thing about me going to Stanford, is that I kind of learned that. Something else is that I kind of found what I want to do with my life through trial and error, which is, I mean, that's one of the things you go to college for, right? Is to learn about yourself and then what you want to do. And I think so in some respects, that Stanford's helped me there. I don't think I know what I want to do with my life, but I definitely have more of an idea, which is pretty good. And like I said, I found it through trial and error, because I was doing all that tech stuff, all that CS stuff, and I realized, I don't know if this is what I want to do with the rest of my life, because of all of the random shit I just said before about, the tech world being very not my cup of tea. You can just tell from everything I just said about tech is not my cup of tea. And then I also think so I think that was an important thing for me to learn, because if I didn't learn that, I'd, maybe be forcing myself through 10 years of tech jobs to climb my way to the top of the ladder. And then I realized, oh shit, I actually don't like doing this. And I also think I realized I don't want to major in English, because I took a few English classes at Stanford, and that was not my cup of tea either. So I was like, I will not do this. I will figure, if I want to be a writer, which I still want to do, I will do it some other way than majoring in English, because that was, those English classes were rough, man. Because those English classes were rough. Just a quick side note, like those English classes, I felt like we were all just sitting in a circle, just talking about shit, and no one knew what the fuck was going on, basically. So that's why English was not for me. Yeah, another good thing Stanford has impacted my life for is that was a weird way to say that sentence. Another good way Stanford's impacted my life is that the Stanford brand name is pretty helpful, I think, for just things you want to be able to do in life. So that was a weird way to say it. But yeah, basically, like I said before, like the way I was saying, hey, turns out your race and gender and socioeconomic status impact what you can do in life. So does your credentials. And, and it shouldn't really, because I don't think going to Stanford makes you a smarter or better person than anyone. In fact, it might make you the opposite, because Stanford has turned you into a raging douchebag. But I think I get the general sense that it's true, that if you go to, that having gone to Stanford, people are more willing to believe that I'm smart, or give me opportunities for jobs, or even in just in any interaction, professional interaction. Saying you went to Stanford doesn't hurt because people think, oh, this kid must be smart. So that's good, I guess. It's probably not super ethical to be to be abusing for that, but it is a beneficial thing in life. I also learned from Stanford that I can get myself out of sucky situations if I just put my mind to it, which is that's a good confidence booster, right? It's kind of different than the working hard thing, which is just you can work hard and do something. This was more like I was in a bunch of sucky situations, so like my living situation freshman year, or all the numerous classes that were so terrible in my life, like CS 107, Math 51, electrical engineering. I was like, how the fuck am I gonna pass any of these classes? Because I don't know what the fuck is going on in any of them, and they're sucking. They're sucking my soul out of my body, and I just freaking powered through, figured out a way to pass those classes. Damn, my axe just broke. When it came to my housing situation, I just figured out a way to fix that. When it came to graduating in 3 years, I was like, this school sucks ass. I'm going to graduate in 3 years. I just figured out how to navigate those situations and come up with a solution for them. So that was definitely a confidence booster for me, right? That I didn't just flounder and just was stuck in those situations, right? I could actually actively do something and have agency and take control and get myself out of those situations, which was definitely good for my self-esteem, and that was a good situation. But yeah, Stanford had to provide those negative situations for me in order for me to learn that I could get out of them. So definitely a mixed bag there when it comes to that situation, because it was sucky, and then I figured out how to get out of those sucky situations. And yeah, I think it also taught me that the best version of me, the best person I can be, is just truly accepting myself for who I am and being that person and not anyone else. I feel like I had this idea when I got into Stanford that, wow, I'm in Stanford, I can do anything. I can assimilate myself into white culture, and like, there was always a part of me that wanted to live the life of someone on those Disney Channel TV shows and have zany white adventures, like be Drake and Josh, or like be the male version of the male version of Victoria Justice in Victorious. It just seems like these white people are always having such zany, fun adventures, and I wanted to be that, But I think at Stanford I realized, guess what? I'm never gonna be a 6 foot tall white douche in KA. And guess what? I don't want to be that person, is what I realized as well. Drinking that copium. No, but actually, I actually don't want to be those people, because they're douchebags, and why would I want to be a douchebag? So yeah, I think that was an important lesson for me. I think part of it also came from, maybe some internalized racism against Asian people, but I think just how did I come to that realization? I think just seeing that if I tried to act in a way that was inauthentic to myself, and like try to be try to be some white asshole, or I don't know, it's just impossible for me to be a frat star Not that I ever tried to be one, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, when I first got into Stanford, I wanted to live that white person going to college lifestyle. I hope that makes sense. But I realized that I couldn't because that's just not who I am. And I think in realizing that, I realized that that's not who I want to be. And also, I realize that the only way I can live the best life I can possibly live is if I be myself, not try to be someone I'm not. I don't know if any of that made sense. Hopefully it did. It was also probably a little corny, but yeah. Fucking spider. Oh shit. Oh, I got armor now, bitch. I got armor now, bitch. Let's get the rest of our... Do we have any more iron? Yeah, we do. Let's make some boots. Yeah. So, yeah. I think I'm glad I realized that at Stanford. That I should just be myself. Yeah. I also think something important I learned at Stanford was that you gotta be able to make mistakes to learn from them. I made so many mistakes at Stanford. Probably the biggest one was going to Stanford. Haha. But yeah, I made a bunch of mistakes at Stanford. I messed up in classes, on exams, socially, in my interactions with people. Just so many mistakes. Too many to even list. But I think I learned a lot from every single mistake. And I think something my parents tried to do when I was growing up is shield me from making mistakes, because they were afraid that the mistakes would be harmful, which makes sense, right? If you make the mistake of driving drunk, that can be a really... You might not be able to learn from that mistake. You might just end up in jail. But I think when it comes to other stuff like failing a test, which happened to me at Stanford, or having a really awkward social interaction, or stuff like that, those are stuff you can learn from, and I had plenty of those, and I learned from those, and I think I learned to accept that mistakes are a part of life and not beat myself too much over them. And as long as I kind of felt that I was getting better as a person every time I made a mistake, I found myself more at peace every time I made a mistake. So that was good. Yeah, there's probably more I could think of, but that's all I could think of for today. I think one last thing I kind of want to say is I don't know how many of these I really have to kind of thank Stanford for, because I think a lot of these would have happened at any college, learning to accept myself and learning that mistakes are okay. I think that would have happened at any college. And also, I just randomly threw that beef in the air. Also, a lot of the Stanford experiences I mentioned were negative, and it kind of made me into this really old, cynical person who's paralyzed by all the shit I went through at Stanford. I'm not trying to make myself sound dramatic or anything. It wasn't that bad, but it was definitely... I definitely would say Stanford was a overall, itself, a negative experience in my life. Maybe the long-term benefits of having the credential of having gone to Stanford and the lessons I learned will pay off, but the experience itself, I wouldn't say was good. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful I met my friends I met there, but besides that, I don't really... Yeah. So I don't... Stanford definitely shaped me as a person. I definitely learned a lot from there, but I don't know how much of that is necessarily a good thing or a positive thing. So I'll leave that ambiguity up in the air for you guys to think about. And yeah, if you guys got into Stanford, congrats. You'll be able to... Yeah. I will say... Oh my god. I went down there to get frickin' iron for these sheep, and I didn't even get enough iron to make shears. But yeah, if you got into Stanford, congrats. There are a lot of opportunities you have there, even though I just mentioned how those opportunities can be limited. But there are opportunities. And if you didn't get into Stanford, don't worry, because it's not even that good, and you just heard me rant for like 30 minutes about how not good how it ruined my life, basically. All right, this video is probably too long. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think these videos are too long? I've been thinking about like trying to shorten the Minecraft therapy videos to like 10 minutes to like just hit a point and like just be more snappy with it, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you got to this point in the video, I appreciate it. You're a real one for watching all the way through. Yeah, sorry if my voice was sniffly during this video. I kind of have a runny nose right now, but yeah. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching, dudes. More videos coming soon. Stanford themed one, if I can frickin' get my shit together and make them. All right, thanks for watching. Stay sane. Stay safe. Peace.